Hi biologists, reading chapter 30 continued. Picking it up at page 340 at the heading of alveoli. Now each bronchus subdivides into about 1 million bronchioles. The bronchioles are the little branches. The bronchus reminds me of a tree trunk. So the bronchus branches into the bronchioles. These end in tiny, hollow, balloon-like air sacs that are called alveoli. Singular alveolus if you want to have correct grammar. Now the function of the alveoli, or the air sacs, is gas exchange. Remember, gas exchange is getting rid of carbon dioxide and swapping it and getting oxygen instead. So we're exchanging gases, or we're swapping gases. Here we have a list of adaptations about the alveoli. The alveoli are adapted for the job, for the function of gas exchange. Why? Well, the large number of alveoli, between 700 million between the two lungs, provides a large surface area for gas exchange. This is getting at the point that if you took all your alveoli out of your lungs, stomped on them all, they would take up the size of a basketball court when they're all flattened out. The alveoli are thin-walled, they're only one cell thick. This helps the diffusion of gases. They have moist surfaces on their insides, again helping diffusion of gases, and they're enclosed in a network of blood capillaries. This list is vitally important. It is the list of essential features of the alveoli that makes them suited as surfaces across which gas exchange can take place and are specifically mentioned on the syllabus, so therefore need to be learned. Continuing on to page 341 and picking it up at the heading of gas exchange. Gas exchange. Now the book starts the discussion with the idea of respiration. And respiration is a chemical reaction that takes place in body cells. Remember, respiration is the release of energy from food, and you need oxygen for this process. So as the book is saying, as a result, the body cells need oxygen or will use up oxygen, and they will make carbon dioxide and water as a result. Now what's the story with this carbon dioxide and water? Well, the carbon dioxide in the water will pass out of the body cells by diffusion. This is because the cytoplasm has a higher concentration of carbon dioxide and water than the blood. So these two chemicals are made in the cytoplasm of the cell. So the carbon dioxide is made as a result of respiration, and the water is made as a result of respiration. And they will basically leave the cell by diffusion and enter the blood. In the lungs, this is the vital point for today's work, the carbon dioxide and water will diffuse from the blood plasma into the alveoli. They will travel from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration, come down from a high. This is what the diagram is trying to show you here. It's trying to show you that the carbon dioxide is leaving the blood vessel, an area of high concentration, exactly the same as the water, leaving the blood vessel, an area of high concentration, and entering the alveolus, an area of lower concentration, and then being breathed out and exhaled. So what about the oxygen? Well, the oxygen is going to diffuse or travel in the opposite direction. It passes from the alveolus or the alveoli into the blood. So this is what they're trying to show you in the diagram above. The oxygen is being inhaled. It is now in the alveolus, high concentration of oxygen in the alveolus. So the oxygen will diffuse by diffusion. It'll travel by diffusion and enter a red blood cell, because the red blood cell has a lower oxygen concentration. It'll get carried by the red blood cell. That's the function of red blood cells. We learned that in the blood chapter. The function of red blood cells is to transport oxygen. So it will then pass from the blood cell into the body cell. So it gets delivered to the body cell by the red blood cell. In each case, it's diffusing from a higher concentration to a lower concentration. Remember, we come down from a high. They're trying to show this in the diagram over here at the side. If we start at the body cell and we realise that as a result of respiration, we're going to make two wastes, carbon dioxide and water. The two wastes are in high concentration inside in the cell, and they will move by diffusion into the blood vessel where they are in lower concentration. The two wastes are obviously carbon dioxide and water. Eventually this carbon dioxide and water will reach the alveolus. The carbon dioxide is in high concentration in the blood, and so too is the water. So the carbon dioxide and the water will leave the blood by diffusion and enter the alveolus. In the meantime, you breathe in oxygen. This oxygen is needed by the cell. So the oxygen will move by diffusion into the blood. It'll get carried by the blood vessels. It'll arrive at the cell. It's in high concentration in the blood vessel, so it'll enter the cell by diffusion, and it will be used in respiration. So we're just making a final remark on the transported gases here. Oxygen is mainly transported by combining with the red pigment hemoglobin, not forgetting that the red pigment is inside in the red blood cell. And by the way, we need iron to make this pigment. And if you don't have iron in your diet, you won't be able to make this red pigment, so you'll end up anemic. So this particular point is overlapping two other chapters in the book. We have met this idea in the food chapter, and we have also met this idea in the blood chapter, where we covered the function of red blood cells. And when the oxygen combines with the hemoglobin, which is dark red, it'll form oxyhemoglobin, which is bright red. This is why when you cut yourself, your blood sometimes has two shades of red, dark red and bright red. Only about 3% of the oxygen is carried dissolved in the plasma. This is such a small amount, we conveniently ignore it, and we basically accept the fact that the oxygen is transported by the red blood cells. Carbon dioxide and water vapour, which is what we have to realise, both of them are carried in the blood plasma. And as a link into the chapter on breathing, realise, because carbon dioxide is dissolved in the plasma, this has the potential to affect the pH of the blood.